Did you ever wonder why God made man and woman? Ever wonder about the nature of the cosmos and how it all came to be? I actually remember back in elementary school pondering this question and finding trouble coming up with a reasonable answer. The world, it seemed, was messy and difficult, and people were trouble, let's face it. I wondered, if God had the heavens and the universe and the angels, why would He need us? The angels were beautiful and powerful, and they shared the whole universe with God. They had everything, it seems, just as they wanted it. But then I realized that some of the angels, roughly a third of them, wanted more. Although it seemed like they had everything at their disposal, they wanted more. And what I realized is maybe God wanted more for them as well. He wanted to connect with them in even deeper and more beautiful ways. But He knew that rebellion was possible, and in fact, it came about. What if, I thought, the earth was kind of an experimental place where God could place His creatures in an environment that tested them, not just physically or emotionally, but spiritually, in which their character could be revealed, tested, and refined. Because I thought, if God could trust us in the moments that we have on the planet, perhaps He could trust us in eternity and not be faced again with revolt and rebellion. So that got me thinking, and ever since I've struggled to make sense of what the Bible teaches about the cosmos and what we've learned from science. As a medical doctor, I love science. And there's so many exciting things that we've learned in recent years about geology and history, about the nature of origins and the journey that our universe has taken. Turns out that the Big Bang happened about 13.8 billion years ago, as best we can tell. There's a guy, Carl Sagan, who earlier in my life proposed that we think about the time of the universe's existence as we would think of a calendar year, just to put things in perspective. In other words, that calendar year would span 13.8 billion years, with the Big Bang happening right at the stroke of midnight as the year kicks off. In that conception, every second would include 437.5 years. Every hour, 1.575 million years, and each day in our cosmic calendar would be 37.8 million years. Carl Sagan also suggested we think about it in terms of space. And if we think about all of history being the space of a football field, all of human history could be covered by Carl Sagan's hand. It's remarkable how small we are as humans and how small we are as individuals. It's kind of sobering, isn't it? If we go back to our cosmic calendar, in which each day is roughly 38 million years, the Milky Way would not show up in the universe until about March 16th. And our solar system wouldn't come along until September the 2nd. Our planet, Earth, we judge to be about 4.4 billion years old, which would have been about September 16th on our calendar when the oldest rocks on Earth were formed. Isn't that fascinating? It would be later in September when the first life would come to be, but not until December the 5th that any multicellular organisms would appear. December the 5th in our cosmic calendar. Not very long ago. My birthday, December 25th, would have been when the dinosaurs made their appearance. Yay me. I am a big fan of dinosaurs. But it was only about 5 of our 37.8 million year days before there would be a cataclysmic event on the planet. Between the appearance of dinosaurs and this cataclysmic events, mammals, birds, and flowers came to be. The earth was teeming with life. But at about 6:24 a.m. on our December 30th in this cosmic calendar, there was an event that we refer to as a mass extinction event. Many scientists agree that there was a huge meteor that crashed into the earth in the realm of the Caribbean and created such destruction that it wiped out most of life, especially large life like the dinosaurs. It was a mass extinction, and it took time for the earth to recover. Now, I have a theory. It's just a theory, and it may hold no water. But I like to think that in the events leading up to that mass extinction, that things were brewing for war in heaven, that the clash between God and the angels may have been coming into its fullness about that time. And my theory is that this cataclysmic event, the crash of the meteor into the planet, coincided with God casting Satan out of heaven, consigning him to be constricted mainly to this now dark planet. It turns out that in the book of Genesis, the very first verse says, "In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth." Now, we believe that the implication is that God created everything from nothing. And that is, in fact, what the Big Bang suggests, that everything came from nothing. But in some translations, the next phrase, "and the earth was without form and void," could more properly be translated, "the word earth became without form and void." Wouldn't it make sense that God would create form and fullness when he made the earth, and that only a cataclysmic or disastrous event could rob it of form and fullness? It's easy to imagine that Satan, or Lucifer, as he's also known, would be so enraged by his defeat that he would lay to waste this gem of a planet that God had so carefully crafted over the millennia. That in his rage, he wanted to show God what he could do and destroy this precious piece of property that God had so lovingly provided. Well, we're told in Genesis that the Spirit of God hovered over the face of the waters. And after that extinction event, my idea is that God chose, as he often does, to make good out of something bad. And he decided that now this planet had everything it needed, not just physical challenge, but now the possibility of spiritual dissension or spiritual challenge to help grow creatures that would be in his likeness, not just in form, but in fullness, in terms of their character, their commitments, and their love. It turns out that after this mass extinction event on roughly December the 30th, that soon after, primates, apes, and hominids make their appearance on the planet. It's even possible or conceivable that after that horrifying and cataclysmic event, that God set things right in a quick 6-day period. Maybe possibly setting things back in order in a short, literal 6-day period of time. We don't know, but it might be. Now, I also think there's another gap in the biblical account. As I said, I think there's a gap between "in the beginning" and "the earth became formless and void," and the 6-day creation. But I also think there's a gap between the 6th day, when God created male and female in his image, and chapter 2, where God breathes his breath into Adam. Why do I think that? Well, within just a few verses after Adam and Eve are formed, they have a couple of boys, Cain and Abel. And when Cain is outed for killing his brother, he goes into the world where there are evidently plenty of other people who Cain complains will kill him. Very soon, Cain sets about building a city. He has a wife. He has children. It's easy to imagine that Adam and Eve may have been the first humans that God breathed directly his spirit into, but there were plenty of other humanoids out there that could affect Adam and Eve, Cain and his descendants, after they're being kicked from the garden. It's interesting to note that we have record of human history for only about the 6,000 years that the Bible suggests. Turns out that the Bronze Age, most scholars believe, started around 5.5 thousand years ago, around the time when Cain's descendant Tubal-Cain was said to make instruments of bronze. Kind of cool how things line up there. Obviously, the Bible is not a book of science, but I like to think that there is great congruence between what the Bible teaches us about God and the nature of our universe and what we learn from science. It's so cool to me that if we look deeply into the geological record, it's hard to deny that the earth is old. It's easy to see how patient, how loving, and how carefully God designed and filled out His plan for life on earth. Every one of us has an opportunity to love God with our heart and with our body, but we also need to love Him with our mind. So it's important to me that you think deeply about the cosmos. Think deeply about what science teaches us about the nature of our universe and the nature of God. It turns out that the end of the Ice Age on our cosmic calendar would have been about December the 31st at 2359 minutes and 33 seconds, just less than 30 seconds before the end of our cosmic calendar. And it's even later than that, at about 47 seconds, that we enter the age of bronze. Think about it. We are now poised on our cosmic calendar just about to the stroke of midnight at the end of that calendar year. And we've only been around as civilization for roughly the last 15 seconds of the calendar. Doesn't it sober you to think of eternity and how short our lives are in the scope of God's great plan? It's mind-boggling to think of 13.8 billion years, but even more mind-boggling to think of eternity. And that is what we have in store. There's a great verse in the book of Isaiah that says, "Of the increase of His government, there will be no end." The universe is expanding, and we don't know how long this universe will last, but we do know that God's kingdom will endure forever. And of the increase of the expanse of His government, there will be no end. God bless you today. Enter into life and enjoy the beauty around you.